Okay, yeah, so that video ended prematurely. So we'll just hit start on another one. So yeah, all this is gonna go in that in the boxes. My hose reel, still, well, so my hose reel is eventually gonna go in the corner over here somewhere on the wall. Like I said, I'm not gonna put stuff on the wall. I'm not gonna put stuff on the wall if I can help it. So, but my hose reel will need to go on the wall to make it usable, or to seal in. So it's probably gonna go on the wall over here because my compressor is gonna be plugged directly into that main outlet right there. So I don't have to use an extension with a compressor. That's gonna be plugged in over there. And then I think my vacuum my vacuum right here, I might have to put it on the wall. It does have a handle, and I have a couple hooks it might work. I'll just put the hooks on the wall, hook it on the wall, and I'll try to mount it. Well, the problem is I need to be able to turn it on. So maybe a remote start switch if I mount it high on the wall, because I still need to mount where is it at? Where's the hose reel? The hose reel, oh yeah. The vacuum hose reel is right there. The dust right. It's a 50-foot hose for like vacuuming the cars or whatever. So this, I was thinking about putting it on the wall. So this space is pretty much spoken for. It's gonna be my compressor, and that additional lift is gonna go right here. The welder is gonna go right there just because that's where the plug is for that. So that's where the welder is gonna live. So I can start using it. That spring compressor, it might not live there because it's not something that gets used or will get used a lot. So that might get broken down and put inside of the closet. So will these wheel dollies things. And I'll eventually do a video review of why these OTC ones, you can see right there, the blue ones with a yellow little sticker on it, they're different, and they both make sense. This one, if you have the wheels on a car, it makes sense. This one is like the jack of all trades because all you need is an actual jack, and then you can put it on the pinch wells. And then you have access to the wheels, but this one kind of limits your access to pulling off the wheels and stuff. But this is more like a body shop type stuff where I guarantee everyone has a jack at a minimum, so you can jack the car up and rest them on you have to unscrew those two bolts, two there, to create a gap, and drop your pinch well between it and kind of sandwich it there. But yeah, I think I'll do a video on that eventually. So that's going to be there. Compressor, maybe the vacuum above the sprinkler system controller, the drill, not a drill press, but the smaller engine crane, the plasma cutter, and welder. Like I said, that Bronick spring compressor might not live there. Then that's gonna stay there, that big mighty OTC engine crane, and then obviously the lift is gonna stay over there because that's where the only place that it makes sense to put it. Drill press is gonna go in front of the water heater, and then all the rest of the stuff, like this is my hoses for my, my master blaster for blowing off the car. So wherever I mount the vacuum, I'm gonna mount that stuff there. So whereas I'm not gonna put a lot of stuff on the wall, like a lot of shelves or anything, I'll make it work. I'm gonna try my best to resist, because stuff on the wall is floor space that's left open. The chair will be the chair. This thing here, this Mueller-Kebs little tray parts or service tray. We'll see how that works. I got a lot of these Harbor Freight little storage bins. The blower will go back to the shed. The jack, will find a place to put the jack, and then my my oil catch can here I'll find a place for that also. In a perfect world, this is going to get used. This oil catch can is going to get used way more than that Bronick spring compressor. So we might see how this works out. The oil might take precedence. Yeah, all these like high lift jack stands are going to go in the storage closet unless there's room out here for them on the side. And then all this is going to get cleaned up. My work around the house toolbox is going to go back to the shed. The vacuum, these two lights. By the way, these two lights, I would probably recommend the Milwaukee for the only reason that you can plug a 120 into it. See, it has a room for a plug right there, and it also has a battery compartment on the opposite side, whereas the DeWalt only has a battery. But anyway, just blabbering. So that's the plan right there to clean that stuff up. And then my plug, I'm gonna figure out the plug on the outside so I can tap into it. As far as stuff on the next side, let's see. These are parts for my Tacoma. So I need to do a service on my Tacoma. I got gaskets and stuff, gas intake for the manifold. I got a bunch of gaskets and stuff. Genuine parts, filters and serpentine belt. Obviously all this caulk and whatever that paint thinner and all this stuff. These boxes are gonna go back. I don't recommend this at all. This uses a lot of battery power. It's portable, you can throw it on your back and it will get the work done, but you need a 12.0 and it's not even gonna last you that long. So yeah, I don't know if I really recommend this for whatever, but it does the job. This little Milwaukee brushless backpack vacuum. I initially got it because I need to go clean out the gutters on my roof. And I'm probably gonna use this, which is kind of heavy also. So we'll see. I haven't tried it yet. I still need to install the trim piece that goes under here, but I have it painted. It's outside, so that's already painted, and I just got to cut it down to the tapered edge. Here, I'm probably gonna leave it for shoes and stuff. So when we start using the garage again, you know, actually, I'll probably end up putting like a very thin profile shelf here for shoes and stuff, so we can just leave our shoes outside in the garage, or our daily footwear. The steam cleaner, that's gonna stay here. I think that fits right there just fine. This box is gonna stay here. If I have to get rid of any box, it's gonna be this, and that's because of this top. I don't like this open top. It just takes away from a lot of space. So I got some stuff crammed in there, but maybe I'll put stuff that doesn't require immediate access, like some of these fluids and stuff that I have. If they can fit, I can put them in here, and it doesn't require immediate access. All this stuff will eventually get cleaned up since I'm finding new and renewed space. So all that stuff will eventually find a home. Yeah, just some paperwork. Let's see. This dent puller thing, it was originally sitting right here. It might go back right there. I just got to see if it's going to really impede on this doorway. Because whereas my wife doesn't really say much about the garage, she will be bound to talk about how much she can't get access to the inside of the house. So, and obviously I don't want to limit their access, so it's a mutual thing. I've definitely taken over the garage, so yeah. But we'll see if this thing fits right here. I might be able to just do that tonight. I don't really feel like doing much more. Like stuff like this, heavy stuff, which did not work for me as far as like spanning this stuff and being able to lift it, because I just don't have adequate clearance. And while I'm at it, looks like I got some touch-up paint to do right there. Like a scuff mark. I'm not even sure how that happened on the paint. But yeah, oh, maybe when I was using a strap, kind of hit the wall or something. So I got to touch up that scuff mark. No big deal, easy enough. So yeah, that toolbox is gonna live there. This one is pretty organized. I came in here and I did my pliers, and I can still rework these. These are my larger pliers, so these are in here. But at least it's organized now to a certain extent. And I went in here and did pry bars and stuff. So that's usable. You know, stuff that was always covered up. I went in there and did extensions, which that's why you need to be organized, because then you realize you have a lot of extensions. Because if you can't find it, you buy it. So I got a lot of extensions in here, but at least I can come in here. And, you know, find what you need. And I'm going to reorganize, especially having new slide out drawers and stuff. You know, those little ones. I'm going to be able to make like small, like wrench drawers and stuff. So I'll be able to thin this stuff out and make the most of the drawers as far as the depth and the space available. So stuff is not like stacked up on each other and stuff and not being utilized like these. These are stuck caliper pins. So you have one that you can just hammer on, and then you have one for your air hammer. So if you got those stuck brake caliper pins, you can use those to get it out. These come in handy. Thin wrenches from Husky. A bunch of like, you call this a pry bar. This is from Monster Tools, but it pretty much like a wrench extender, I guess. So yeah, I can get all this stuff finally organized and make good use of it instead of everything being jumbled. And then I had taken some time and organized my Milwaukee already, so this stuff is relatively organized and it has room for improvement. But this is all my Milwaukee power tools. But yeah, like I'll have space to like thin these out so they're not sitting on. In fact, I could do that. But yeah. So there's that. So this box is pretty much, what else? Then my creepers. As much as I don't want to hang stuff on the wall, it makes sense to hang stuff on the wall as far as this stuff. Or put this on top of the box. So when I talk about space on top of the box, small stuff like this, whereas this one is actually pretty heavy though, I'm not gonna lie. This new Air Creeper is pretty heavy. So whereas this one is lightweight, this one is heavy. I do have a ladder outside that I wanted to keep inside out of the rain and stuff. And I was actually thinking about mounting it up on the ceiling right there above the box. So I might not be able to store a lot up there. What else is going on around here? This DeWalt shelf is going to go back to the shed. And we'll see if I keep these boxes in here. This is my electrical box. So I might actually, since I have this nicer box with a lot more space, and I don't necessarily need an individual like electrical box, I might put those in my toolbox. And these are rigid cases. They have like like those little disc cutters and stuff, sanding cutters, or sanding stuff for your die grinders and stuff. And then the pack out, the original pack out there has some spray paint, which I'm gonna use a spray paint, high temp spray paint for the tracks. That's the plan. All this stuff is gonna go back to the shed. It's just stuff, all this random stuff I've been using, whether it's for tiling and whatever, what have you. I've just been doing random stuff. Nail gun, recip saw, planer, planer, manual planer, electric planer, and all this stuff is gonna go back to the shed. That trim, I didn't use it, so I can return it to the store, and then I'll clean up on top of the Milwaukee box, which I'm gonna have to revisit all the pieces in there, so I can like kind of declutter, thin stuff out. This Gorilla ladder is pretty nice. It's adjustable. It's pretty nice. And then finally, I'm gonna revisit the garage door again just to make sure it works. I think I'm gonna have to tighten up this spring. Certainly I'm gonna have to take down the wires and redo them, which is probably gonna involve some touch-up paint because I'm gonna have to pull staplers out, pull the wire off the wall, which is gonna peel some of the paint. So it's just work. But at least those are gonna be like stuff that I do occasionally. And then I'm gonna have to shave down the garage door here at the bottom. So a lot of little stuff. It's not perfect, but the main thing right now is getting stuff decluttered, put in its place that it's gonna live, and reclaiming my garage as far as a usable space to just chill out, service my cars, park the cars, so the wife is not like having to run through the rain with the kids and stuff. And she can just pull in and stuff. And I might not even park my car in here with that lift, unless it's going to be like a long term, because it's going to be a pretty tight fit. So she might just have access to this garage as far as pulling forward. My only request of her is that she does not pull forward into my toolbox. And I've already had that discussion. Do not drive into the toolbox. In our previous garage, I actually installed a stopper on the floor using a 2x2 or something. A 2x3 or something. Yeah, it was about a 2x3 that I had concrete drilled into the floor, so she drove in and she didn't have to hit stuff on the wall, because once the wheels made contact from like a slow roll, she knew that was as far as she needed to go, and nothing that I would put on the wall stuck out as far enough that she would make contact with the car. But you know what, she still managed to run that thing over, and I forgot what she hit, the trimmer, the hedge trimmer. She literally took the hedge, literally took it out, because the hood of the car has a dent in there. So I'm skeptical if this box is going to remain all pretty and dent free, because she gets really close. She doesn't have to, but for some reason she gets really close. So typically what I do, especially in a tight garage, I'll have a marker on the side, out my driver's side, and once I'm like my shoulder or whatever reference I use is in line with that, that means I'm gonna stop. And if I have nothing that has nothing that has infringed on that parking spot, all those references should be good, and I should not be touching anything. So I'm gonna see what works as far as how far I want the car to go. And I mean, if I gotta put a blue painter's tape, if it's gonna be the centerpiece of this Milwaukee toolbox, I'll let her know, because I really don't want her to hit this box. Or if it's somewhere random right here, I'll just put a blue painter's tape right there and be like, when your shoulder is in line, you look left. You don't even need to look forward, just look left. Your shoulder is in line, stop. But like I said, stick around. I will have an update. Hopefully she doesn't run into it. Yeah, I'm just blabbering right now. I'm gonna call it a night. I'm gonna cut the mat. I'm probably not gonna cut it tonight though. Actually, probably gonna put the kids to bed. Put the kids to bed. And this thing is heavy. Sorry, I'm dragging it down. So actually, I'll definitely have to cut it, because this is 73. So this 73-inch mat. So I needed it for a 56. The 56 was, I keep saying 56, 53, whatever it is. It was actually more expensive for the smaller mat than it is for this bigger one. So I just bought the bigger one. and then I'll have some surplus. That's why I have some of these surplus pieces left over, which, I mean, I'll certainly find use for. You know, I could, if I'm parking my car long term and I don't want to like stay in the floor, I can just park on top of that. Or if I'm doing oil changes or something, brakes or something, I can just use those. They're pretty heavy duty. So yeah, if you're buying these mats for your Harbor Freight Icon, I recommend just buying the big one because they're like $50 versus the smaller ones are like $80. I don't know why. Maybe they figure because you don't have to cut. It's not a big deal. You just measure the size that you want and use a sharp scissors and just cut it straight line. It's pretty easy. But yeah, all that stuff should thin out. As you can see, you know, the Olight controllers, they still work, so I'm just gonna donate them. Cardboard, throw that stuff away. But yeah, I should be able to declutter. My shed is still a mess, so I don't want to just throw stuff in there and create more mess. So figure out a system. This wheel dolly will go back to the shed. Thank you for your service. You have done well. This thing is amazing. If you have one of these, I highly recommend getting this extension handle. Leverage is your friend. And then this little extension thing, I hardly ever use it, to be honest. But it's there, and it does give you some extension. And it just bolts in place. It's kind of awkward because it has these ribs, but obviously it needs it for the structural strength. But I don't know if they could have done a better design. But I just usually leave it zip tied. My son usually takes it down. But as you can see, it doesn't allow you to butt stuff right up against right here because it sticks out slightly. But yeah, this thing is anything that gives you mechanical advantage, mechanical leverage, like this stuff, an engine crane, yeah, it's usable. I'm gonna do a video on whether or not a DIYer should have shop quality equipment. Because I know I've watched videos and it's like, well, real mechanics out there, they're not gonna buy stuff like an engine crane and bring it to work. Makes sense, right? That is your job. But if you're a DIYer, and you can make it happen, you can buy it or something, should I say, then should you have it? I certainly do. And I use stuff for more than its intended purpose if it can be done safely. So still not sure if I'm gonna donate a TV. So I was thinking about putting it up there, but that might be a little bit cluttered, and especially I don't watch TV. I was thinking about YouTube or something, but I don't know. I might just donate it. And plus that TV's bulky. And again, it goes back to not wanting to drill into the wall. So yeah, I do have my work cut out for me, but this is going to be the fun part of the work, putting stuff together, putting stuff where it belongs. So it's not going to be like, thou shalt put this garage, these pieces together in a week, in a day. It's going to be like, start working on the house, start working on the kitchen. Like in my kitchen, I got to sand it. What the heck is going on right here? Thought something was building a nest. Start working on the kitchen. I gotta sand the cabinets and install a dishwasher and a microwave. Just some minute stuff, but the same level of detail that I took and my time that I took with this garage, it's gonna take just as long to get a lot of stuff done around the house. But I enjoy doing that stuff. I enjoy learning about stuff. I make mistakes and I recover from it. You've been seeing all these videos partly because I just record it as it goes and I just blast it out as it comes. I don't have time to like go edit and do all this stuff. I just do this for the fun of it. It's not anything beyond that. So I don't put too much effort into that stuff. So if I make a mistake in what I say, that's because I'm just blabbering on. And yeah, I don't do editing and put up, the edited version of what I meant to say. So, but also on the same note, these videos have strung out, right? So you've seen me working on the floor. Like, this floor was pretty grimy. But now I have a really nice floor that is held up well. So far with all this moving of heavy stuff around, held up well. I still got to seal it, but we'll do that. I'll give it like a power wash, in the center, so I don't have to move all the pieces that are going to be on the side. Power wash that stuff, give it a good clean, and I'll seal it. That's going to be that. Cars are going to be parking in here, coming and going. So I'll be able to do a continuous update as far as the longevity of this garage floor being a tile. And it's not any special tile. But yeah, being able to tile a garage floor, I remember laying the very first tile over there, or laying them out in order and seeing how it's going to work out. And then I laid the very first tile, and I learned my very first lesson about laying tiles. And I remember getting into the halfway section right here and wondering, when is this thing going to be done? Because the thin set got really thick as I kind of leveled the floor. So it got really thick. So you mix a 50-pound bag and it wouldn't last you but 1.5 12 by 24, which sounds crazy, but yeah, that's kind of what happened. But it's durable. It's all these tiles are back buttered and has a good slab, a good base. Now, if the next homeowner wants to install a lift, that might be a little bit of concern, because they definitely need to go into the subfloor and not the 1.5 inch of thin set, and include that in their depth measurement. So certainly something for them to be aware of. So yeah, I was gonna say that in a lot of videos you saw me put out, it's like, video 1 all the way to 17, whatever, 18, and you'll see some people, put up a video, garage makeover, and it's like 10 minutes, 30 minutes, a weekend. I'm coming up on a year since I've been doing this, but also I travel for work, so I don't necessarily come home every day. And then even when you come home every day, so I gotta allocate time for the family. You're not in the mood to do stuff. You gotta run to the store. You don't want to run to the store. It's cold in the garage. You're tired. All this stuff, but kind of glad I stuck with it. Kept the same level of attention to detail. When I started painting, where did I start paint? I actually started right here. Kept painted all the way down because all the stuff was on that side, off that wall, and I came over here, painted here, and I did that, and then I finally just finished up that wall today, and then a little cutout there. So I'm glad I kept the same level of attention to detail, because I carry that same level of attention to detail that I started here all the way to the end, just because I didn't want to have sloppy, shabby work. And I think it shows and it speaks for itself. So, oops, this manual. I gotta find a book for this Harbor Freight thing, because the binder. Then, yeah, it wouldn't come out as nice. And then not only the floor, so things that I've done in this garage that I've never done before. I've never laid a tile in my life. This is the first time I ever tiled anything, and I tiled an entire garage. That's meant to, be durable and hold weight. And the lines are straight, but I will show you, I'm not even gonna hide it. If stuff is not in the way, well, this lift might be in the way, but when it's all decluttered and there's no cars in here, I'll show you a view from the entryway of the lines and how I got off being straight over here and true and plumb as far as the lines. And that's because I'm working in a space that has stuff on the floor. So, I'd be working towards me, and then I would put stuff over there, and it's just, yeah. That's what makes this whole process hard, because there's stuff in the way. So all these pieces, I've moved them a million times because I had to move it around. So did the floors for the very first time, installed a garage opener for the very first time. It's gonna be the death of me, because it keeps freaking acting up. So more of that. Installed a door for the first time. So the problem with this door was the tile was higher than original, so I would have to cut the door at an angle for it to swing, but then that would leave a gap when it's closed. wasn't gonna look good. So I just sat not doing anything. And in fact, when I got right here, this little section of tile, I stopped and I couldn't go any further. I'm like, wow, it would be nice to finish the floor. And it was like 2 a.m. This thing must have been on my mind. I got up and I came to the garage and I measured and I went on Home Depot and I was like, I'm gonna buy a door the next day. So I bought a door and I took out the original door and I was like, well, I took it out. Well, I got to install something. And I started installing this guy and shimming it. And I kind of wanted, not only could this door not swing inwards anymore, practically, but I wanted an outswing door because that would free up so much space. So now I'm going to be able to put my drill press right here that I wouldn't otherwise be able to put. This door is not going to impede on the car or anything. Well, now the lift is in the way, but previously it was the car. So my first time hanging a pre-hung door, and it turned out well. You know, it got to the point where, like, this is the original door, but it was a 4-inch, I don't know what you call it. What do you call this piece? But it was a 4-inch piece and not a 6-inch. So you had this gap right here. So I got a piece of trim, put it there. Actually, no, it fit. I think this is this was the original part of the door frame in there, because you can see where I screwed it in. And I wish I had countersink these a little bit more. You can see at least one right here. And you can see them right here and here, but I didn't really countersink. I have countersink, but I didn't know where they were at. So I just countersink using the drill bit, the rotation of the drill bit. But anyway, pre-hung door, first time, it turned out well. The door closes just fine. I gotta fix this latch. It's like, it has a little bit of play in there. I don't like it. It's like something is off in there. So I gotta fix it. It works though, it locks. So I did that. First time. I mean, I've done little plumbing fixtures before, but I'm glad I got that routed. Just so if it overflows outwards. So I got that stuff done. The only thing that I wish I could do was paint directly behind this thing, get it all nice. But unless you're like looking directly from the side, and it's going to be so dark back there that you won't be able to see it. But the entire ceiling up there is painted. You can actually see the white. So I didn't like half-ass it or something. That's what I meant by I carried my attention to detail all the way through. You know, the caulk turned out well. I'm not sure if I ever caulked anything before. I caulked a bathroom before, but I've never caulked like an edge. But that's how I decided to treat the edge of the floor, was like caulking and painting. So yeah, it's a lot of new stuff. And then, like I said, I mean, I've done lights before, so it's just an upgrade. I wasn't doing electrical work. It's electrical in nature, but I wasn't like running new wires. So that was an upgrade. Talking about lights, it's a little bit dark, so you got enough light up there. You got these two, whatever ones, but it's a little bit dark down here, right? So I know these lights, you can daisy chain them, but I don't want to have wires on the ceiling necessarily. So I got to see about that. But it's a little bit dark down here in these corners. So, I have alternatives to lights that I could use down there, but that's 8,000 lumens, and these are, I don't know how many lumens these smaller ones are, but they're kind of tied to the garage door and motion sensor. So, there's adequate light in here. And then I have, I got a million flashlights. Well, not a million flashlights. Yeah, I got sufficient flashlights if I need to do something. I got, I can use these Milwaukee and DeWalt lights, stick them in the corner or something, but probably not. And then I have these underbody lights for the car, because once I raise the car up in the center here, these lights are not going to do me any good. Let's be honest. They're certainly not going to do me good because the car is going to be blocking the light. But I did pick up two like, those industrial lights they have on like loading docks. They swing out. So being that I have a plug right here and a plug right there, I might be able to install those like up on the wall, and they swing and like stay against the wall, and I can position them where I want for supplemental light. And that's what I was thinking about initially, because I have 2 of those that I haven't used yet. But yeah, I'm just throwing out ideas how this garage is going to come together. Clearly it's a lot of work. A lot of work has been done, but this is going to be the fun part. Like I said, opportunity to put this stuff back together, and be able to use my garage, make it function. And then, you know, I haven't opened my garage door in a while, but I guarantee I'll have a neighbor or 2 stop by and like admire said setup, and I'll sit in here and I have a beer and watch the kids play. But yeah, that's the plan. Declutter this thing again. It was decluttered once and it got cluttered again, but it's not a whole lot going on up there as far as clutter. So it's just random stuff. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go spend some time with the La Familia. I say that right? La Family, and call it quits for today. My feet is hurting, but big up to my friend helping me install that. We were able to just lift the 56 overhead in place. You certainly, after lifting the first one and then lifting the second one, you definitely have to be, once you get it above chest height, you got to get committed, get it up there. And then the engine crane came in handy for getting that pre-position. So it's just on me to bolt it all together and just secure it to the wall so it doesn't like come falling forward. But yeah, so that's the plan. Not sure what the next video is going to be. Probably do something tomorrow, but it's going to be pretty simple. So I got to get ready to do some work on Monday. So coming along well. The press is on new. I'm pretty sure I did a video, but it's on new casters, Husky casters. So I just need to paint. I was going to paint the platform. So that's one of those projects that's not really critical. But I did say I was going to paint it. I was going to paint it gray also, or whatever I paint the wall with. I was going to paint it. So again, the thing is, it's fine. It can just sit there and it's going to be just fine. It doesn't need the platform. That's what I'm talking about. The wooden platform. It doesn't need to be painted. It's fine. But if I have time, break out my engine crane, hook it up, lift it up, take it off. But what I need to do is bolt it on there, and probably secure that also to the wall. So whatever it can tip over, I'll secure it to the wall. So this press, my toolbox is over there. These right here, I'm not concerned about because they don't have that tip to tip, especially the small one. Anything can tip over, but I'm not worried about those. And then these stuff, they're fine. Not worried about those tipping over. That would have to be the house would probably tip over at that point before those things tip. The last thing I'll do before I go is say that, so I was going to make a red stripe around the corner, but then I figured I had so much stuff that I would have to put against the wall. And again, I wasn't going to put stuff on the wall. So so much stuff would be against the wall that it would probably be really high up. And I wanted like a mid height. And then obviously you wouldn't be able to see it going behind the toolbox, right? So I, after painting meticulously, I have a can of red paint that I will have to find a reason to use. Actually, I believe it's the same color we had used in our garage. Maybe not in our last kitchen, but probably not. I don't know, maybe I'll paint one of the kids' room red just so I can use this and not waste it. But yeah, I was going to make a red stripe around the edge of the garage, but I also thought about it. It's not permanent. Eventually I'll move, and I think someone will enjoy this paint scheme of just neutral colors, just gray, painted white ceilings, nice floors, and they'll just enjoy it. Maybe they're not going to be a automotive, person. Maybe they'll be into woodworking or something, and they're going to be like, that's crazy looking red stripe. So, yeah, I look for value in what I do. And as I'm looking around, it looks like I need to screw this in right here. You can't really see it from this angle, but that needs to be screwed in, so I'll do that right now since it's actually venting upwards. Actually, that's not even doing anything. It's just meant to cover that big gap, but that screw is loose, so I'll just do that right now. So that's what I'll do before I end my night. Yeah, and so the box is finally plugged in. You can see that the USBs are lit up, and I have my phone charger plugged in. So if that plug trips, that GFCI outlet trips in the back, it's just gonna live that way forever because there's no move in this box just to reset a GFCI. That's just it. I have plenty more means to charge my phone, but this is really convenient to just have this dangling here, set my phone down and charge it. Anyway, I must have said a million times. Oh, here we go, more things. And this is the outside light. It's the garage. Outside lights, the garage. The lights out there are automatic, so I leave it on. And this is inside the garage. So I have this. I'm going to change it out to an automatic switch, automatic sensor. So all the lights in the garage will be automatic as far as the ones in the ceiling. Anything else before I say it one more time that I'm going to go and I don't? Anyway, this video is pretty long. I don't know who's going to literally watch a 40-minute video about someone rambling. Don't be envious. It takes a lot of work. All this stuff costs money. I'll eventually do a video on the cost of stuff, and I'll be pretty transparent because, I mean, nothing here was given to me. This is all my own dime and penny and work. So don't be envious. I watched a video earlier and someone made a comment on someone's toolbox about why do you need that? You're not even a mechanic. And if you're watching this, you probably know yourself and you know what the video I'm talking about. But yeah, just don't be envious of people. Be grateful for what you have. Make do with what you have. Strive to have more. You know, you can go down a whole rabbit trail of like, you know, what do you call it? Tool truck stuff versus, you know, buying it from Amazon or whatever other retailer. But buy what you can, afford what you can, and don't be envious of other people. I see that in a lot of videos, and a lot of people will say that to me also. Why do you have, someone said, why do I have an engine crane? Well, I have not lifted an engine, but certainly lifted a box. I've used it to assemble my lift over there, just me and my buddy. This stuff is pretty heavy. So just be creative with your mind. Don't be envious, I guess, is what I'm preaching there for a potato. This stuff, it does cost money. It just doesn't like fall in your lap. Yeah, I just want to leave it at that. But I'll do a video about the cost of stuff. Like this whatever thing, little dolly thing. I remember buying that in like 2000 and... When did I buy that? 2016? I think it was 2016. And that's because I had gotten one. I had borrowed one from a leasing office when I was moving. And I was like, this thing is amazing. I can move my entire couch with just using my finger. And so I got my own. And this thing has been a true MVP. So it was about $300 in 2016 dollars or something. I don't know. Plus I bought that platform like I showed you that's kind of held in place with a bungee, and then that additional extension arm, which is worth it. I actually bought new wheels for it. So those are, I don't think these are the pneumatic wheels. Yeah, these are the solid wheels. I actually bought pneumatic wheels for it. So I had the pneumatic ones, but I didn't think to install them because these are fine. But yeah, I'll do a video on just be transparent about how much stuff costs. And I think I was alluding to the fact that tool trucks. And someone is going to say, how many times are you going to end this video? Well, it's still rolling, right? But yeah, I'll talk about the cost of tools, and in the process, when this stuff is all organized, you'll see that I have never been on a tool truck. I started recognizing them, seeing them now just because I've watched toolbox videos and whatever So now I see them driving around. Before that, I've never seen them. They're just another vehicle on the road. But in this garage, all this stuff in here, there's probably like 10 or less items, and I'm just being generous. Case in point, there's one right here. Got it off eBay. I thought it was unique, and I wouldn't be able to find it elsewhere, so I picked it up. And I actually looked up the price on Matco before I bought this thing, and it was certainly like $100 cheaper. So I pulled the trigger on it. But this is one of probably 10 or less. I definitely 10 or less items I have with tool trucks. So we can do a video about the cost of tools, and we can do a video about how much tool truck items I have. And it's not to bash tool trucks or anything. Those guys are making a living for themselves, but sometimes I wonder about the decision making of that I hear on YouTube automotive videos. But clearly I haven't made good decisions myself with all this crap. So who am I to talk? All right. As me always say, like and I hate a thing.